Is it possible to learn British English, like really learn British English, if you don't live in the UK? Can you actually develop a British English accent if you live in, I don't know, Korea, for example? Well, today's guest will answer those questions. All right, mate, and welcome to the BritSpeakPod, the podcast designed to help you understand British life, British culture, and of course, British English. So let's get cracking. Hey up, mate. How's it going today? Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thanks for asking. And welcome to episode 010 of the BritSpeakPod, where we're talking about learning English, even if you're in a non-English speaking country. But before we get into all that, if you're new around here, my name is Dan. Nice to meet you. Do me a favor, please subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. And if you're not new around here, welcome back. It's nice to see you again, mate. I hope you had a good week since last time. So yeah, today, episode 10 of the BritSpeakPod. Already, episode 10. That's mad. It's gone by so fast. Feels like just 2 minutes ago that we started this podcast, but we're already at episode 10. And I'm absolutely buzzing about that. So yeah, but today we're actually talking about the question, can you learn British English when you are not in the UK, right? It's a question I get all the time, and I'm sure it's bothered a lot of you guys that are listening. Maybe you don't live in the UK. Maybe you live in a country where you don't have access to native speakers around you all the time, you know? So in that case, how are you actually supposed to learn English, or British English in this case? How are you supposed to develop a British English accent when you're living in a country where nobody has that accent? It's a tricky situation, right? It's not easy to do that. And not everybody is lucky enough to be able to get on a plane and go to an English-speaking country. So, is it even possible? Well, that's why I wanted to bring today's guest on. So, today's guest is YJ. She's actually one of my students. She takes private lessons with me. But that's not the reason she's coming on. The reason she's coming on is that she lives in Korea, right? And Korea, obviously people speak Korean. They don't speak English as their first language. But YJ has managed to overcome that, and she's learned British English despite the fact that she doesn't live in the UK. So I wanted to bring YJ on so she could share her story and her techniques, because I think a lot of you guys feel the same way that she feels. And I think you're going to learn a lot from her strategy, her techniques, and more importantly, her mindset when it comes to learning English. So without further ado, I want to introduce a very special guest. It's YJ. YJ, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Actually, it's pretty early morning for me.
Yeah, behind the scenes, we're recording this at like 10 o'clock in the morning. So pretty early. Pretty early.
Yeah.
Nice. YJ, if people haven't encountered you before on Instagram or whatever, please introduce yourself a bit to everyone. Tell them who you are.
Yeah. I'm YJ, and I actually I'm Earl on Instagram. Yeah, that's my English name. Because when I started posting about my English journey, I was really fond of the tea Earl Grey, and I thought tea Earl Grey is like really British. So yeah, that's why my username, my handle is EarlGrayInSeoul. Yeah, I've been posting about my English journey on Instagram, and I started teaching others English and Korean. Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, I was going to say the Seoul part obviously means that, you know, you're probably in Korea, right? And teaching Korean probably confirms that. Yeah. But nice. So the first question I've got for you today then, YJ, is when did this English journey start? You mentioned you post about your English journey on Instagram, but when did this all kick off?
Oh, 7 years ago. Yeah, 2016.
So you didn't study English in like school or anything like that?
Of course, I studied English in my schools, but, yeah.
Well, when I was in school, I studied Spanish and French, but I didn't really study Spanish and French, I went to Spanish and French classes, but I didn't actually do any studying. So
I studied German. Yeah.
you studied German?
Yeah. I only know that guten Tag. No.
Yeah, guten Tag. That's pretty much my level of German as well. So in school you studied German and English, but I'm putting air quotes, bunny ears, studied. Yeah. So your real start in 2016 then. So what happened?
You know, as a Korean, we all of us have we want to learn English and speak English fluently, but it's not it's not easy. But yeah, I had a dream of speaking English fluently. So okay, let's just start. Yeah, I don't know. I love traveling abroad, and yeah, so let's just start. And then I started it. Yeah.
Okay, so you are like, let's start and started. Okay, that's a pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good method, to be honest.
Just do it.
Yeah, like Nike says, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's cool. So you started, about 7 years ago then, right? So about the same time as I came to Japan, you started learning English.
Yeah.
So one question I've got for you then is you mentioned like Earl Grey and you're a fan of the tea and you sound quite British. So as a Korean person, how did that happen? Like why British English?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, in South Korea, American English is really common way to learn because in schools, the system is really American. Yeah, I don't know. So I started learn American English first, but at some point, I just Sherlock Holmes and Harry Potter. Yeah. That's the gate. So, to my ears, the British accent sounds like music. So the language has their own frequencies. Yeah. So for me, it's just my cuppa. Yeah.
It's just your cup of tea, British English. Yeah, very good. Yeah, nice. So you settled on British English rather than American English, but you don't live in England, right? You live in Korea. So how do you practice British English when you're not in the UK? How does that work?
First of all, I watched British YouTube content. So yeah. And then I actually, I read Harry Potter books. So yeah, probably it's just my interest in the Harry Potter and Sherlock Holmes and YouTube content. Actually, Ali's Papa teach me. He inspired me to learn the British accent a lot. So yeah.
So it's Papa Teach Me's fault, right? It's Ali's fault.
Yeah.
So he's a good guy. I'm a big fan of Ali's work. He's really funny.
Yeah.
From the teacher perspective, I took quite a lot from him in terms of it's supposed to be fun. You can have fun with it. You don't have to just do boring grammar drills, especially on Instagram and YouTube and stuff. I looked at Ali and I was like, this guy gets it. It doesn't have to be boring. So I guess we're both here because of him then, basically.
Yeah.
So if somebody else is in your shoes then, and they want to learn British English, but they're not in the UK, what would you recommend for them? What was your strategy and how can they copy it, right?
Actually, I really try to just listen and watch the British content. Only British content, yeah. Only British podcasts and British movies like About Time, and Bridget Jones, and
Classics.
Yeah, the people who want to learn British English need to expose themselves to the British content as much as they can. So yeah, that's my strategy.
So you kind of immerse yourself in British content, even though you're not in the UK, right?
Yeah,
So TV shows, movies,
yeah.
podcasts, whatever. So what do you recommend? Like, what are some starting points that you recommend for people that want to do that?
They need to enjoy their process there. So they have to find their way to enjoy the process. And for me, it was Harry Potter and Papa Teach Me content and Sherlock Holmes. So I recommend finding some content they can enjoy.
Obviously, different courses for different horses, as we say. Not everybody's going to enjoy the same thing. That's one of the things that really winds me up is every teacher is like, you should watch Friends. No, Friends is proper boring. I'd never recommend watching Friends.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so everybody's into their own thing. So find something you like, but just happens to be in British English. And if worst case scenario, watch Harry Potter. Okay, got it. Nice. So in your English journey then, 7 years, what has been the hardest thing so far? And how did you kind of get over that?
Yeah, fears. Fears of making mistakes. Yeah, it was pretty hard to get over it because I've studied English alone, until I met you. Yeah. So yeah, that period was really tough to me. Yeah, I was stuck in the intermediate plateau, and I was alone, and I didn't know how to go through it, but yeah, I just find a good tutor.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, YJ is actually one of my current students, and we work together, been working together for a while. But I mean, I appreciate you saying that, but the point I was trying to ask is like, you were scared of making mistakes, right? And how did that hold you back? Like, what problems did that cause for you?
Actually, the fears are like not necessarily to be fact. Yeah, the fears are fears. I'm not that bad. My English is not that bad. The fact, but I just something like manipulate myself. I'm not good enough, so you can make mistakes. So just shut up.
Yeah, like that is a huge, huge point. Like that, the amount of people that tell themselves, I'm not good enough. My English is not good enough. You made a mistake. You are not good enough. So you may as well shut up. So it makes you not want to speak, and it makes you want to just listen and nod your head. And because if you don't say anything, you can't make any mistakes, right?
Yeah.
But you can never improve either.
Yes, right.
So you've got to push through that. So you kind of had this fear. And when did that fear change? When did you kind of turn that off in your head?
Actually, I started when I started posting about my English journey. I was like, okay, just do it. You live only once. You live your life only once. Just do it. Okay, no harm done. And yeah, even if you failed, nobody cares.
That is a huge, huge point that I want everybody to listen to what you just said.
Yeah.
Can you say that one more time? It's really important.
Yeah. Even if you failed, nobody cares.
Exactly. Nobody cares if you use the wrong grammar. Like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. The meaning got across. as a native speaker, I can kind of guess what you're trying to say, even if you don't say it perfectly. So, that's a really, really important. I hope people write that down, or, if you're listening to this, write it down later, and look at it every day, because that's a key thing. So my next question for you then, Wajid, what is a mistake that you actually made in English? Like, can you think of a specific mistake that was embarrassing for you, or a specific mistake that you made and you're like, oh my God, this is terrible? Like, have you ever had that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, a few days ago, I made a reel and then I posted it, and I found out I made mistake. Yeah, I could say it was huge mistake because the word is really basic word, but I pronounced it basic. So yeah.
So it's like a pronunciation thing for you then. You were like, oh, I said the wrong word. And did the world end? What happened?
Oh no. Nobody cares.
Did anybody even notice?
Yeah. And I made mistakes. I made mistake a lot. And the not latest reel, but yesterday, not yesterday. 2 days ago, I made a reel about the upcoming event, and I just typed in come on.
So you put common instead of come on, right?
Like, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, did Instagram ban your account for making this mistake? Like, did a million comments telling you were wrong?
No. Nobody cares.
Exactly. So going back to this, nobody cares if you make a mistake. The only person that cares, and probably the only person that notices, is you, right?
Yeah. Oh, actually, I've read about the gremlins a lot. When you make a mistake, or when somebody criticize you, please self-check. No, self-check. No. What the fuck? A reality check.
A reality check. Okay, cool.
Reality check. Yes.
So, yeah. I mean, I noticed you worked with Suki quite a lot about like mindset stuff, right?
Yeah.
So how important for you is mindset as part of your language journey? A lot of people just think of language as grammar and vocabulary and pronunciation, but mindset is also a big part of it, right?
Yeah. I think mindset is the fundamental thing. You should have the positive mindset along with your studies, because you face a lot of struggles in your journey. But if you have the positive mindset, you can figure out and you can go through it. You can get over it. Yeah.
And actually looking at the facts, like you said, like reality check. How big a deal is it? Does it really matter? And I think it stops you going insane, because it's easy to kind of beat yourself up and tell yourself you're not good enough. And if you tell yourself you're not good enough times, you start to believe it. And that's just a downward spiral that never, ever ends well. You're just going to end up pissed off. So, yeah, that's really good advice. So 7 years ago, you started learning English, British English, whatever. And now it's 2013. Full disclosure, it's the 28th of July that we're recording this. So how has your life changed or improved in those 7 years because you made that decision to just do it and start learning English?
Mm-hmm. My life has changed a lot. Yeah, especially this year. Because, as I mentioned earlier, I just started posting about my English journey, and my motto, that was like, just do it. Yeah. And when I just expose myself to the real world, people, I've got people. I've met a lot of good individuals, and they made me think positively a lot. And Yeah, and I'm recording a podcast with you. Yeah,
Is that a
it's
good thing or a bad thing?
amazing. Yeah, amazing.
Uh,
Yeah.
so you've kind of used English to open up your world, even though you're in Korea, you've interacted
Mm,
with people from, I guess, all
mm,
over the world, right?
mm.
Through
Yeah,
Instagram and using English.
yeah. I said to my friend, I made my English world on Instagram because in South Korea there's little chance to speak English in daily life, so I had to do it. I had to do it. Yeah.
Awesome. That's really powerful. So you kind of overcame the limitations of around me, there's not much I can do with English, but I've got internet on my phone and my phone's in my pocket. I can connect with anyone in the whole world. So, and that's, you said you've met people who are positive, and has that improved like your own positive outlook on life? Has it made you feel better about life?
Yeah. Um, I could get over my fears because the positive mindset, mm, they led me to do that.
That's really, really cool. That's proper good. That's proper good. So now your journey, you're on this journey, right? So what does the end goal look like for you? What is the light at the end of the tunnel, if you like, that keeps you studying?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure, but anyway, I have a dream of owning my little tea house someday. And yeah, I really want to share my tips, and I want to meet people who want to learn another language and swap their cultures. Mm, it is lovely.
So somewhere you're going to have a little tea house where people from all over the world can gather and they can swap their culture and their language. And what kind of tea are you going to offer?
Earl Grey.
Just Earl Grey? Really?
No.
Nah, you need to get some Yorkshire tea. Get
Yeah.
some Yorkshire tea bags, yeah?
Yeah.
And do you know in the UK there's a big thing about like the correct way to make a cup of tea that people argue about all the time?
Uh,
It's like, do you put the tea bag in first? Do you put the milk in first? Do you put the water in first?
yeah.
Like how, and people argue about it. So what is your opinion? If you're going to make a milky cup of tea, you've got boiling water, you've got a tea bag, you've got some milk, what order do they go in?
First, the first is boiling the water, and tea bag. Put your tea bag in the cup, your little mug, and yeah, pour the water, and just wait for 2 minutes.
Wow, that's
And
going to be
then-
a strong cup of tea.
yeah, and then just remove your tea bag from the mug, and then pour a little amount of milk.
A splash of milk, as we say.
Yeah.
I think that's that for me is the correct answer as well. It goes tea bag, water, milk, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people will argue with you about that. So I'm expecting the comments to be pretty fun.
Scone and jam and cream.
Yeah. See, scone is another word that people argue about. Some people say scone. So British people, we just like to argue with ourselves, I think. I think that's basically what happens. But that's pretty good fun. As long as you don't do what Americans do and they make a cup of tea in the microwave, that's just wrong. That's just, come on, guys. You guys invented Microsoft. You went to the moon, but you can't work out how to make a cup of tea. What's wrong with you guys? Come on. Get it together, America. You're embarrassing yourself. Okay, anyway. So after my little diatribe about America, YJ, how can people follow you? How can they find you? If they want to learn Korean or English with you, how can they do that? Like, tell the people.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is EarlGrayInSeoul. Seoul is Korean, the city of Korean. And you can find me on YouTube too. You don't know that?
I didn't know that. That's new for me. Nice.
Yeah. And Yeah, the same. The username is EarlGrayInSeoul.
So I'll put all the links in the show notes. So if people want to check it out, they can find you. But any last comments? Any last advice for people who are listening?
Guys, just do it.
Just do it. Nike are going to sue us. Like, come on now. This is our slogan. You know, give it a rest. Why don't we just start saying, I'm loving it, like McDonald's, get them annoyed too. Anyway, YJ, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and I'm sure everybody's really enjoyed your story and your message.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
So that was the lovely YJ with her story about how she learned British English even though she's not living in the UK. And there was some really important stuff in there that I wanted you to hear, especially the stuff about making mistakes. Nobody cares, and that's true. That is true. And I've been working with YJ for about 6 months, maybe a little bit less. And she's made a lot of progress in that 6 months. We've been working on pronunciation and British, slang and idioms and all that kind of stuff. And if you're interested in being like YJ and joining me for some private English lessons to improve, your spoken British English or something like that, I do have private lessons available. If you're interested, you can send me a message on Instagram, or you can go to my website, which is britspeak.co/services, or you can just click the little button at the top that says private lessons, and it's got all the details there. I'd love to work with you to help you improve your English and become a confident communicator. But for today's episode, that's basically it. Make sure you check out YJ. All the links are in the description for everything that we've discussed in today's episode. But that's it for this one, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you there.